Well, good evening. Check test. 1, 2. Sounds good. It's 7 p.m. Hello. Hello. How are you? Hope you're all having a great week. And I guess we got Christmas coming up on Saturday. Where has this year gone? Wow. I'm telling you what, it's gone by fast. I think being gone most of the summer really threw my whole year schedule off. But yeah, we're just sitting here. Been a pretty slack week, really. Um, Having a little taste of the good stuff tonight. Celebrating the Christmas season and a nice Christmas present I got from some friends. Something I rarely buy for myself, which is good cognac. So I thought I'd sit here and have a sip with you all tonight and catch up. Let's see who's in the chat already. We got Rich Kirby in from Germany. Good morning, Rich. And looks like Tim Myers is in. Hi, Tim. Awesome to have you here. Matthew is in from Michigan. I'm so happy to have you here, Matthew. Round Town Scouter is also in the on the stream tonight. Be sure and drop a comment over in the chat window and let me know where you're watching from, if you're so inclined. And if you want to just lurk, that's fine. I do a lot of lurking, especially on live streams. And several folks mentioned that I looked pretty beat up last week, and I'm pretty beat up tonight too. But I think a lot of it has to do with the light. I want to try an experiment here real quick. Let's see if I can not knock everything off. And let's see. I guess that's a little better. You can still see the old bags under my eyes, but I haven't been sleeping well the last couple of weeks. I don't know what's going on. I was awake at 2:45 this morning, and I could not get back to sleep to save my rear. And I did get a bit of a nap in today, so hopefully I don't look too tired. But yeah, on screen it looks pretty tiring. I look pretty tired. E-Travel Happy is in from the oil fields of Texas. Great to have you on. Matthew has a question. He asks, is there a way to help with moisture building up between my bed and the wall? Yeah, that's a tough spot. I'm assuming the bed touches the wall. And that's really hard because there's really no airflow through there. So about the only thing I can suggest is when you get up in the morning, or when you get up to leave for the day, or whatever your schedule is just slide the bed out away from the wall. RV mattresses usually aren't too heavy, so you should be able to slide it out away from the wall and just allow some air to circulate through there. And if you do that a couple, 2 or 3 times a week, you should probably be okay. But you being there in Michigan, Michigan, lower Michigan, humidity there is usually pretty bad. The only other option would be to get a dehumidifier. I've used those when I've been out on in areas where the humidity is really high, and they can be fairly effective. They're kind of a pain. You have to end up dumping them. I got a sneeze coming on. Excuse me for 1 second, just in case. You have to dump them, regularly, depending upon how humid it is. I remember the one that I used when I was out in Virginia for 6 months, and I would dump it twice a day. So there's that. But yeah, that's about the only thing you can do is reduce the humidity in the room, and then just slide the bed out away from the wall, the mattress out away from the wall, allow some air. Now he says he has a big one run at 45% humidity. In the winter you can crank that humidity down. You might go down to 30, Matthew. 30 is pretty comfortable, really, and that'll help a little bit. 45 is a little high. If you're trying to prevent humidity, 30 and below would be a good target to be at. 30, 35. That should help a bit with the moisture accumulation. But yeah, that's a tough spot. I know other folks that have had troubles with that. A place that I know some people that I was just, chatting with some friends of mine that are actually in Florida this year rather than Tucson, and they've been having some humidity problems, but in their cabinets. Um, Apparently, there's no air that moves through the cabinets, and I suggested to them that when they go to bed at night, open the cabinet doors, and that'll allow a little bit more air to circulate through. Also, Matthew, what kind of heat do you have? Are you using propane heat or electric? Because that'll make a difference. Propane heat tends to put quite a lot of moisture into the air in an RV or in any space, really. It generates a fair amount of moisture when it burns. So propane heat can cause problems as well. Cheers, everybody. So I am taking next week off. Uh, Planning on going and doing some skiing, so I might come back with a broken leg. I hope not. I've been skiing a long time. I haven't skied for quite a while, but I thought I'd get out there and try it out. Looks like the snow is going to be pretty decent. We're expecting snow really the rest of the week here in eastern Idaho. So we were supposed to get a lot of snow from this last storm that rolled through like late last week, but we didn't get much. There's maybe an inch on the ground out there. In fact, I believe it was snowing last Tuesday night when we were on live. But as a reminder, if you do have any questions, be sure to drop them over in the chat window, and I'd be happy to answer those for you. For just a minute, though, I wanted to share something with you. Been having a really great conversation with a fellow named Alan. I won't tell his last name, but he goes by Graybird. He was on the premiere of the last week's truck camper renovation video on Sunday night, and he has an S&S, and so he was telling me about some of the things he's done to his. But I thought I'd just take a minute here and show you his S&S. This is a 1990. But he said he's worked extensively on the windows. He has a Turnabond tape on him. A Turnabond tape is good stuff. All right, it really seals things up. And he said when he first bought it, he had done a bunch of work, and he's got some vent holes cut to allow moisture to drain out. He's in Whidbey Island, Washington, and so you want to talk humidity central. You talk about the west coast of Washington, Seattle and north, Portland and north, really. And in fact, probably from, most of Oregon and Washington, at least on the Pacific coast, are pretty humid. But yeah, so we've been having a really nice chat. It looks like his rig is in really good shape. And I hope to get mine back there as well really soon. Let's see, let me do some reorganizing here and see what we got in the chat room, over in the chat. Oh, Two Feathers, hello, good evening, great to have you here. She says, I had an issue with the moisture dripping down from the window. I put a plastic rack between the bed and the wall. There you go. That's a good call. As you sit there and as you breathe at night, you actually let out quite a bit of moisture as well in your breath. And so if you've got cold windows, that moisture can accumulate on the windows. And, if you've ever slept in your car in cold climate or, stopped to take a nap in your car in cold, you'll often wake up with a lot of moisture on the windows. Let's see. Whidbey, yeah, that's right, Tim. I had forgotten that. Tom Downey, who's usually in, he probably won't be tonight because we probably made him mad for calling him old last week. But he's from Whidbey Island as well. Hi, Randy Waller. Great to have you in tonight. Thanks for joining us. It was a really slack week for me. Actually, last Wednesday, I was down. I was on the couch all day. I guess it must have been the result of the booster I got, and then also at the same time I got convinced by the pharmacist to take the flu shot. And I think it was a double whammy because boy, it kicked my butt. That's for sure. I was whipped all day last Wednesday and part of Thursday too. But I'm glad to have been boosted with all this noise about this Omicron and everything. It's not looking good out there for folks. But we'll try to stay on a more positive topic. I hope everybody has good plans for Christmas. I know my plans are just to hang around. I've been invited over for Christmas lunch, some friend's house, so I'll probably do that. And I'm pet sitting for some friends of mine that are out of town right now. So that's every other day or so I have to go over and, pet the cats and tell them that they're still loved. Make sure they have water. They're on automatic feeders, so there's not much to that. But yeah, I decided after spending all summer in Arkansas that I probably wouldn't go for Christmas. But one of the first things I'm going to do as soon as I get the truck camper put back together and get it working is probably early this spring. Like I say, depends on when I get things put back together. Run out and see my dad in the truck camper and maybe make a 2-week trip out of it and kind of slowly make my way down there and maybe do a little fishing while I'm down in that area, and then slowly make my way back up here to Idaho. I've got some stuff going on late spring that I'll need to be taken care of. Let's see. Roundtown Scouter, is your staying with you? I don't follow. If so, is ready to go south? I'm ready to go south, but I won't be going this year. I wish the camper was ready because I'd sure as go. I'd sure take a month in the middle of next month, middle of January, and head south for at least a month. That'll be the plan once I get it put back together, is next winter to go south. But no, this winter it looks like I'll be staying right here. If this virus thing keeps going, it may get tough to travel again for a while. Who knows? Let's move on to something more positive. If you have any RV related questions or comments, throw it over there in the chat. I'll be happy to answer it. I think this might be a short one tonight because, like I say, the only thing that happened for me in the last week or so is I got a new garage door. The old garage door was wood. The old owner of the house never installed it. Never installed it properly, and there was no rails, nothing. He had just screwed it to the opening, and so it was worthless, right? I mean, it was just a wall then at that point. So I splurged. That was my Christmas present to myself, was I got a new garage door. It's white, it's metal, it's 4 panels, it's boring, but it does the job. I got an opener with it, and the car fits in the garage. What more could you ask? Whoa, what more could you ask for? But I am going to take next week off. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I'll say it again. I am going to take next Tuesday night off. I will be out of town. And so I don't want to... and it's the middle of winter. Today is this winter solstice, as a matter of fact, the shortest day of the year. And I'll be glad to see the sun starting to come back. I had a question come up a couple times about tenting, about tenting the camper and continuing to work on it. And I could do that to a certain extent. But the problem I'm running into is around here, if you're going to be working with things like lap sealant and butyl tape and adhesives, which I'll be working with all 3 of those. It really needs to be 60 degrees or above to work with them effectively and so I'm going to be hurting for 60-degree temps for at least 2 more months. You know, we get into March, and we can get a few really nice days in March. The later in March, of course, it gets, the nicer the days can get. So I'm basically going to be a couple months. But I've got some projects. I did actually start working on the windows a little bit. There were a couple cracks. There were a couple pieces that were cracked off. I just didn't notice it when I took them out. But when I got busy and started cleaning on them, I found the cracks. And so I think I got a strategy to fix those. I mean, you may have heard me say this before, but I was, wondering what I could use for an adhesive, short of buying acrylic adhesive, which is like really super expensive, crazy expensive. And so I'm going to use some UV activated cement that I use when I'm tying flies. Like if you're tying something like a golden stone or something, you want to have this nice shiny, like it's the wing case is what you're emulating. And so we use these UV curable adhesives, and you just put a drop on there and hit it with the UV light for 3 or 5 seconds, and that cures it instantly. And so I'm going to try that. Worst case scenario, if it cracks and busts again, then I'll just spring for the real acrylic cement. Spend the $11 for the pint or whatever it is, and see if that'll work. Saw a few comments roll in over here, so I guess I'll go back to the chat window. Roundtown, Tim Meyer says, Roundtown ran off to the south and left me with the Ohio weather. Yeah, you got the winter weather out there too, I'm sure, Tim. You're probably about as used to it as I am. Oh, Roundtown Scouter says he was talking about my dad. No, Dad's at home with my brother. They're doing fine. I check on him really regularly. Bless his heart. You always say that before you throw him under the bus. He's having a hard time understanding the difference between Windows 10 and Office 365. I spent like 15 minutes on the phone with him the other day. He's 85, so he's good to be able to run a computer. He still goes to Rotary quite regularly, and he does their newsletter, and he does that in Microsoft Office. And I had set him up a template many years ago to do an 8.5 by 11 single fold. Will give you basically 4 pages. So it looks like a little church bulletin, really, or it's just a bulletin, calendar events and stuff like that. And so he's been maintaining that, but I guess he's having trouble connecting Office 365 and Windows 10 and separating the two out. Oh, there's a familiar name we haven't seen for a while, Larry McBride. Hi, Larry. Yeah, that's what Dad said too. He says it's supposed to be in the 70s. Larry happens to be, probably within 45 minutes of where my dad lives down there in northwest Arkansas. And he's been a viewer of the channel for a long time, as long as I can remember. So Larry, great to have you here, and happy Christmas. Randy Waller says, bought myself a new car for Christmas. I'm going to take a short trip to North Carolina to see my sister. Awesome. That's great. What did you get, Randy? I bought if you weren't here last week, I guess I'll pull those up and we'll take a quick look at it again. Since I haven't really posted any pictures about it, I guess I should, but I hadn't thought about it. But I did finally find a pickup to basically become my, regular pickup. I'm getting over here to a place where I can show you. Let's see, I think I want that camera right there. Yeah, you can't really quite see it in that view, but we'll bring her up anyway. And come over here. And I actually ordered a switcher finally, so I'll be able to, instead of struggling back and forth and flipping between screens and scrolling things around, hopefully after the first of the year, basically be able to do that much quicker. You could just barely see it sitting out there in front of the house, but that's a 2011 Chevy Silverado 3500 extra cab that I got. Oh, it's actually like 4 weeks ago now. Oh, you can actually see some of my Christmas lights too. It had 122,000 miles on it approximately. Really good tires. It's got the 6-liter gas engine. I really didn't want a diesel just because I didn't. Diesels can get expensive when they have problems. Not that gassers can't get expensive, but I think the gassers just have a lot less that goes wrong with them. That doesn't cost you $10,000 every time it breaks. Randy says it doesn't look my normal cup of tea. No, if you're just joining, this is actually cognac. It was a Christmas gift for some friends. And so I thought I'd swill a little booze tonight. Okay, Two Feathers says, I've got an appointment to change oil in my RV coming up. Dipstick not registering any oil. It has synthetic oil in it, and I want to put some in before I drive to appointment. Regular oil, or do I need synthetic? Okay, well, since you're getting it changed, and since synthetic oil is so expensive, just get yourself a quart of regular oil. Go ahead and put it in. You'll be fine. Don't spend the $6-8 on a quart of synthetic when you can get a quart of regular oil for $3.50 or $4. And yeah, just put 1 quart in, and that should get you back on the stick. The dipstick, I should say. Randy says he got himself a 2011 Chevy HHR. Those are cute. The HHRs are really cute. Larry McBride says, sorry, haven't been on much, but I was told I have cancer. Oh, Larry, I'm so sorry to hear that. But feeling pretty good so far. Been in the hospital for a month. Wow. Well, Larry, we're thinking about you. We're sending you all the positive vibes we can, and I invite the audience to do the same. Larry's a great guy, and he's been with us for a long time, and I hope to have you here for a lot longer. So I hope you get well soon, Larry. Oh, Tim Myers has an HHR. How about that? Small world. Agree with you, Two Feathers. Very sorry to hear that Larry's ill. We're wishing you the best. Randy Waller says he really likes it. It's a great on gas. Yeah, I actually had, I got a rental HHR, and compared to the PT Cruiser, because one time I had a rental PT Cruiser when I was traveling a lot, I think the HHRs were much better than the PT Cruiser. The thing about the PT Cruiser that just irritated the wee-wah out of me was that the windows, to control the windows, was in the dash, like, in the center of the dash. They weren't over here on the doors like you would find, a normal window control. You had to go over here to the center of the dash to run the windows, and it drove me crazy. Tim Myers asks, what was my preference in oil for my DP? Dello 400. Dello has been used for a bajillion years. The Dello 400 in diesels is, there's 2 or 3 really good go-to standards as far as diesel oils go. Rotella, Shell, of course, is very popular and very solid, good oil. Dello 400. The reason that I was a Chevron guy, and I still am, was that I was raised playing in a Chevron service station. My grandfather ran a Chevron service station for over 45 years. And I spent weekends basically helping him out. From a very young age, in fact, while I'm chatting, I might be able to turn up that picture, we'll see. But from a very young age, I would hang out with my grandfather. My father, who worked for the Union Pacific Railroad, was on something called the Extra Board. Oh, that drives offline, so I don't know if I'll be able to find the picture or not. But And what the extra board was is he would work one day in this city, one day in this city, one day in this city, because he was covering shifts, if that makes sense, right? So he would, work this person's shift on Tuesday and then this person's shift on Wednesday and that kind of stuff. Well, on the weekends, he would be in St. Anthony, where my grandfather's Chevron service station was. And so I would always ride to St. Anthony with my dad. He would go to work. I would go hang out with my grandfather all day. And I'm going to take a quick browse over here. One of my USB drives is offline, and I'm afraid that's probably where the picture is that I'm looking for. But I will dig it up and share it with you next time we're together, which I believe will be on the 4th of January. Let me look at my calendar real quick. Yes, the 4th of January will be the next time we get together. Tim Myers says, do you see any reason to put a bazillion quarts of synthetic oil in a DP? No. I swear by synthetic oil. Synthetic oil is good stuff. I've used synthetic in my Subaru since I got it, and I will be putting synthetic in the Chevy at its first oil change, which will be coming up soon. I'm actually going to change the oil. I'm going to do the transmission oil, transmission filters, drain and refill the transfer case, drain and refill both the differentials. I'm going to do all that maintenance because with 122,000 miles on it, I don't know when that was done in the past. And I'm not going to take any chances because oil is the lifeblood of engines and transmissions and differentials. And dirty oil is a killer. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it all. It doesn't cost a lot of money to do it. It's fairly inexpensive. I mean, the most expensive piece of it, outside of the oil, is going to be the transmission filter and probably a new pan gasket. But other than that, the oil is, well, I'll be using synthetic, obviously, so it's a little bit more expensive than your, standard everyday oil. But, yeah, I think that oil is so critical to, the longevity of your vehicles and your equipment that I don't mess around with it because, when you figure you're looking at $30, maybe $40 worth of oil, in an oil change versus, the amount of money you might put into an engine, spinning a bearing or something along those lines, I think the money is there and it pays for itself pretty fast. I'm just still doing a quick scan here to see if I can turn up this one picture I wanted to share with you. And it's just not popping up, so we'll have to just do it next time. Yeah, anyway, I meant to work on that today, but I ended up with the guy from the garage door company calling early and stopping over and putting in my new door, which it's going to be nice to have because I've been wanting to park in out of the weather, the Subaru anyway. But all right, oh my goodness, Two Feathers, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm so happy to be here and to provide information and help you learn. And promise that after the first of the year, I'll be a bit more prepared. This time of the year, I'm just happy to have the folks that, are still here on. This last summer, we had some really big streams, 30, 40, 50 people on a couple of them. And it's the same, I have a seasonal channel, right? My channel, RVing typically is a spring, summer, fall type of thing. You get into the depth of winter and people are busy doing other things. Plus it's Christmas. And who knows, the Bachelorette or the Bachelor, I don't know, I don't watch commercial TV. So I don't know what's on, but there may be something on. that folks watch instead of dream about RVing. So, but it's all good. Everybody that's here, I feel like you're my friends, and I'm so happy to have you along. And the super chats are just gravy on the potatoes. It's very much appreciated. So thanks a lot. Hi, Judy Kimbrough. Great to see you in tonight. Quick commercial, and then we'll get back to the content. What's left of it? I don't think there's much. But yeah, I'd like you to give me that thumbs up. Those are always greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Ring the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when a new video goes up. Visit me over on my website, trbowland.com. I finally got that sorted out after the HostGator debacle. That took like 3 days. I just, stepping over dollars to pick up dimes. I did it again. I'm old enough. Look at all this gray hair. I mean, look at this lack of gray hair. You'd think I'd know by now that you get what you pay for. And switching hosting providers was a big mistake. But I got everything cleaned up, sorted back out, website's back and tuned up. And so I'm happy about that. You can also support the channel by visiting my Amazon store. There's a link in the description below. And remember, as an Amazon affiliate, I get a very small commission, but you pay the same price. And so every little bit helps. I was able to buy new microphones. I've got them put away right now. But I was able to buy new microphones with commissions that I've got off of Amazon to replace the ones that got ripped off from me last fall, as a matter of fact. Oh, Randy says he's still staying in his RV on the weekends. Still haven't had much snow at all. Yeah, it's like I say, we don't have a lot here. It's hard to say. Last winter we didn't have a lot. Last winter it didn't get really cold. We never got to zero at all last winter, at least at my house. I think the low temperature was 7 degrees last winter. Was the lowest it got. And I remember, as a kid here in eastern Idaho, that 0 degrees was a regular occurrence, and below zero was a fairly regular occurrence. Now, I admit that I grew up, 50 miles north of here, and you'd be surprised how much difference 50 miles can make. But, yeah, we've had pretty mild winters here for the last couple of years that I can think of. Here, because I've only been back here in eastern Idaho for 2 years. Well, this will be my second winter here. But yeah, I'm definitely missing Tucson. Right, any other questions or comments? I'm kind of out of content. This might be a short one. I guess I could tell you that I have been continuing to work on modeling the camper. I'll show you a picture here in a minute. But I think what I'll show you first is this is my desk blotter. This is actually a clean page. But if you look at that mess in there, this mess over here, what that is that, whoops, past pages, what that is. It fell out. I'll just throw them underneath until I finish. But what I did was, I've shot video of me getting the dimensions and measurements of the camper. And so instead of playing and stopping, I just drew a sketch. And then I went through and I just got all the dimensions all at once, just sketched them out on that. And then I went back over and I've gone back in now. And let's see, I think it's this what we want. And I need this over here. It'll be sure a good thing to, but you can see here now. I think you can see that. Let me do this. Looks like I've lost a couple lines. There's probably some things that I've just turned off for visibility. But you can see here, I've got it pretty well modeled. at least the external skin. And now I'm starting to model, like all of the structure around the windows and that sort of thing. I guess that's what you do in the winter when you can't be working on something else, and you want to be, thinking that you're being productive and doing something productive, and so you sit there and you play with something like that. That old CAD program I've been using for a very long time, since, well, truth be known, since the late 80s, early 90s. Not that particular issue, but I bought that program in 2004 when I was doing a lot of architectural drawings as a side hustle. I used to, well, in fact, until about 12 years ago, when a lot of the rules changed, and now you have to have an engineer's stamp or an architect's seal on drawings to get anything built. Back before that, in most places anybody could do the drawings. All they wanted was a set of drawings. But now there's a lot more that goes into it, into a set of drawings. And so, but I did all kinds of drawings. Over the years, it's amazing. I was thinking about it the other day. I was talking to a friend of mine about it, because he asked me for some foundation drawings for a steel shed that he wants to build. And I actually did steel buildings and steel sheds many years ago, so I've got all the templates and everything you need to do that. So I whipped out a quick set of drawings for him so he could get his concrete poured and put up a steel shed this spring. Let's see. Let's run over here and check on the chat, see if there's anything coming in. Jim Bertrand is in. Hello, Jim. Roundtown Scouter's down there somewhere, regular watcher. I think he's in Las Cruces. Aren't you, Roundtown Scouter? I think that's where Jim is. What's up with Las Cruces? I've been there several times. I've not wintered there. Las Cruces might not be that bad. That's way south. That's just right down near Amarillo. Is it Amarillo? Is it Amarillo right there? Help me out, guys. But yeah, thanks, Jim. I appreciate you coming in and checking in. Eat Travel Happy says we're looking at northern Idaho. Yeah, a lot of people. There's a lot of good land up there. There is all over. But if you're looking for, the high mountain terrain, pine forests. The thing about North Idaho versus southern Idaho is that they're like night and day climate-wise. You get north of about Salmon in Idaho and up in the Panhandle, it's a lot rainier. And there's a lot more moisture up there, and there's a lot more pine forest. South of Salmon, you're into the Snake River Valley, which is more arid. And so... excuse me for just a minute while I just zapped that spammer there that just came in. Oh, Roundtown Scouters in Carlsbad. Okay. Well, close. North of El Paso, yeah, on the Arizona border, exactly. Okay, thanks. I knew that. Gosh, I've been through Las Cruces because that was my normal route back to Arkansas from Tucson. Was I-10 to basically Las Cruces, then up over the mountain, down in towards White Sands, up, what is that, US 50, and then that takes you clear up to I-40. That cuts off quite a few miles, instead of going up 25 to I-40, and then across from Albuquerque. But that's great. Oh, hi, Linda. Camp Goer 1 made it in tonight. So nice to have you in. Looks like we've got a few more folks that have joined here shortly. I was just about ready to hang up. If you're just coming in, that's awesome to have you here. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Whatever your bend is, thank you for joining us. Be sure to give that thumbs up. Those are always greatly appreciated. 50 to 54 to 140. Thanks, Jim. Yep, that's it. So, yeah, so I'm just enjoying a little Christmas cheer. I hope you are as well. Of course, if you have an RV related question, well, any question, you can ask me anything tonight. We'll just throw the kimono off, and you can ask me anything tonight. As a reminder, if you're just coming on, I will be taking next week off, and then we'll be back on the 4th of January. I'm not doing Vlogmas or any of that bull. There's a lot of channels. You know why they do that Vlogmas, right? Is because a lot of them tie in Amazon affiliates or other affiliates, and then they're hawking stuff for 20 days or whatever it is up to Christmas. It's just as you well know, if you've watched this channel for any time at all, I don't chase the algorithm. That's not my deal. Okay, Camp Girl 1 says she'd been feeding her grandson. Awesome. Jim Bertrand asks or says, hope my dad is doing well. He is. Everything's great out there. Oh, Camp Gore says she's getting some pea gravel to park on. So yeah, that's awesome. Randy's got himself a little homestead going up there in Iowa. He bought himself some acreage, and he's had his RV parked out there for quite a while now. And it looks like he's getting ready to break ground and start building a house. That's awesome. That's exciting news, Randy. I'm happy to hear that. What are those hanging on my wall? The red and black squares. These? That is foam. It's acoustic foam, because I'm in a... Let's see here. I'll flip you around and let you see real quick. See if I can come back here. So you see how I'm sitting in this little alcove? And speaking into this alcove creates a hell of an echo. And I'm a semi-audiophile, and so I've got reasonably good Bose computer speakers, and so it just helps with the sound. It knocks down any echoes, and it just makes the audio much cleaner and clearer, and I don't have to post-process it that way. Before I put the foam up, I used to have to heavily post-process the audio that I recorded this way without having the microphone, which you see here. Without having the microphone attached, the audio was just almost unusable. And so I put this foam up. It was fairly inexpensive, but it's just acoustic foam. Camp Goer 1 says, I thought so. That would be neat to glue on my truck cap. Laughed out loud. Insulation, like... Actually, I plan on doing that inside of the cab over in my truck camper. The roof is going to be covered with these. I bought, well, way more than I needed. It was one of those deals. You buy 24 for this amount of money, or you buy 96 for $10 more. So I just got the 96. And so I have lots left over as well. And so, yeah, I'm going to do the ceiling of my cab over in my truck camper with these. I'll tell you one thing that it will do is it will make it much quieter, because they really knock down the sound. They really absorb reflected sound really well. So I'm thinking that it will make that space up in where you sleep in a truck camper is usually in the cab over. It should make it really quiet. Linda asks, are they expensive? No. I don't remember how much they were. They weren't horribly expensive. Um, I got them on Amazon, and I'll go get the link and share it with you. I've got just a minute here where I can do that. It should be pretty easy to find. I saw a couple other questions come in, so let me get over here and look this up real quick. And so I'll share that. Oh, they do offer 48 packs, but I bought the 96 pack because I'll post that link right here. Maybe. Oh, I got to do this first. I got the spammer back. Farak Ashlan, goodbye. You are permanently banned from this channel. But yeah, they would provide a little bit of insulation for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but that's a good point, Round Town Scouter. Linda Camp Glory 1, I wouldn't use pea stone, and she may just be calling it pea stone, but you want sharp crushed gravel. Pea stone will mush away, but sharp crushed gravel has sharp edges, which the gravel will hold the gravel together and stop it from spreading out when you pull up on it. So yeah, you want to just use, a half or 3/4 inch pit or road base is just fine for what you're trying to do. I glued them with 77 with the I glued them with this, Linda. Let's see, 3M Super 77 multi-purpose spray. This stuff is the bomb, as the kids say. And I just put a couple spots, like 5 or 6 spots on the back of each piece. And then I put a couple, 3 or 4 spots on each wall, corresponding with the spots on the piece. And you let it flash off, so you let it where it gets sticky, almost like contact cement. And then stick it up, bing, bang, boom, you're good. Randy, Merry Christmas to you. Hope you have a great holiday season. Travel safe. And we will see you hopefully on the 4th of January. Thanks, my friend. It's been great to have you with us for all these years. Okay, Eat Travel Happy asks, does anyone out there know of a good state to buy property for a home base? Well, to minimize the cost with respect to taxes and those sorts of things, Idaho is not a bad choice. We don't have any personal property tax. We do have state income tax. And, of course, there's real estate tax. Everybody pays that, it seems like. Arizona is fairly inexpensive. Parts of the parts of the southeast are still fairly affordable. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. But those places are hot and humid, and it wouldn't be a place that I would personally choose. But if you like humidity, then you're probably okay. It really depends on what you want. If you're looking for nice weather, then I would say the Southwest would be your best bet. Not California, not Oregon, not Washington. They tend to have kind of high taxes. Idaho is fairly inexpensive. I mean, we have 6% sales tax here. The income tax is right around 6%, depending upon what income bracket you're in. I could have chosen to move anywhere. I didn't have to live back here. I came here because it's fairly inexpensive to live here in Idaho. And you can usually find depending upon what you're looking for, but you can usually find land like where you could take and park your RV and not have it be a huge hassle. So there's that piece of it. You can find that in Arizona as well. So Utah, southern Utah has been popular for those very reasons. I'm not familiar with the tax rates down in Utah. I would think they're going to be fairly comparable to Idaho, as far as taxing goes. Nevada, that's a good one, Camp Gore. Nevada is something you might consider. Maybe over around the Pahrump area. I wouldn't think that being around Vegas would be so great. But the Pahrump area, that's kind of out there in the sticks, and might not be a bad place to live. Let's see. Yeah, Linda, back to the pea gravel. She says she was going to put block paver to put where the tires will sit. Even those block pavers will eventually sink because that pea gravel, here's the deal. Pea gravel is round, and so it can slide past itself really fairly easy. Whereas crushed gravel has sharp surfaces, and so they jam in against each other, and it compacts really well. So, but the block would help spread that weight out. But yeah, unless you're committed to the pea gravel for architectural visual purposes, I would seriously consider crushed gravel. I think it's going to be a much longer lived driveway for you. Link to what, Linda? You mean the 77 spray? That would be on Amazon as well. I'll see if I can run over here. I closed that window, but I could probably run over here and grab it for you real quick. Yes, it will work on a rough surface. It works on fabric. It works on lots of stuff. It's really, really, really good stuff. I swear by it. I use it all the time. Okay, well, there's the link to the Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive. And yeah, it will work on a rough surface. Make sure that you flash it off, though. That's probably the one thing I think a lot of people don't do with Super 77. And so when you first spray it on, let it flash off. The other thing is don't spray it over a surface that is finished, like a table, because there's a lot of overspray, and it won't hurt the table, but you're going to have all these little rubber balls on that table that you're going to have to scrub off. So I'd recommend that you spray this stuff out in, outside somewhere, and then take it in and install it. And that usually will give it enough time to flash off too. Chris Hauser, hi Chris. Tennessee, he says, has no income tax. That's a good point. Easy to get around. Sales tax is 9.75. That's good to know. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for being here tonight. Yes, I'm out of focus. Most of the time, probably. Two Feathers says, Arizona has bad water. Yes, it does. It's not any worse than the Idaho water, though, Two Feathers. Trust me. One of the best investments I made was the water softener, the portable water softener that I got. For the RV. I'm reading comments and speaking at the same time. My mind is grinding. I missed a gear there. Shifting from second to third, I ended up in fourth. Camp Gore 1 says, I watch the East Idaho news lately. They seem like such nice people there. The news is delivering from a Secret Santa right now. Yeah, they've been doing that for a couple years. He's up in Idaho Falls, and he's giving away $1 million this year. And they've been doing some really good stuff with it, mostly helping like teachers and people with serious health problems. It's a good thing. If you're interested at all, I read this website too. It's called eastidahonews.com, and they've got the local news, but there's lots of the stories around the Secret Santa thing that's going on right now. So thanks for pointing that out, Linda. Eat Travel Happy says, I'm from Vegas. We are still considering Northern Nevada. Yeah, I think Northern Nevada, if you weren't going to winter there, and I don't mean Reno, I'm thinking maybe Winnemucca, out in that area, might be really nice. It's high desert, and of course I like high desert. So, that says something right there. Camp Gloria 1 asks, is the rough surface, I'm assuming you're referring to the blocks, or to the, the crushed gravel. Is the rough surface bad on tires? No, absolutely not. It's worse to park on dirt than on any concrete or gravel surface. It's worse to park on dirt. Rick C asks, I'm looking for an RV GPS app. Do I have any suggestions? Yeah, there are two. The Rand McNally seems to be the one that gets the highest ratings. And the nice thing about it is there's others, but the Rand McNally is the one I'm most familiar with. And for those of you that you don't know, one of the GPS, RV GPSs, you can go in there and you set up the parameters of your rig. So my rig is 12 foot 8 tall. I'm 43 feet long. I'm 32 feet long, whatever it is. And then the GPS won't route you down a road that you can't travel. So it looks at bridges, because sometimes you get on small rural roads. They have weight limits. Height limits is really frequent. I can tell you a story here from about 2012. I was in Kentucky. We were doing the Bourbon Trail. So we were visiting bourbon distilleries, Barton's, Maker's Mark, that kind of stuff. And we were in rural Kentucky going to one of these distilleries. And I was in the RV, and my RV was about 12 foot 10 tall, almost 13. And my GPS kept sending me back to the same underpass that was listed at 12 feet. And I would go drive away a little bit and then, turn the GPS back on and it'd route me right back to that same damn underpass. I ended up calling the local sheriff's office. I just stopped on the side of the road, and made a phone call and got a hold of a dispatcher. And she just laughed. She says, "Oh, that happens all the time. Drive down here." And she stayed on the phone with me till I got around this damn overpass and got out of town. So an RV GPS will mostly stop that kind of stuff from happening. I've got another spammer in here. Sorry about that, folks. Just ignore him until I get to him. But anyway, so an RV GPS, the Rand McNally one, I have heard very good things about, Rick. Linda, speaking of gravel surfaces, says, I thought the sharp edges of the rock may be bad for the tires of the RV. No. You'll be just good. Eat Travel Happy says, all good suggestions. Yeah, thanks. That's why we're here, is to bring the community together and get you more information to help you make an informed decision. Camp Gorer 1 says, did I see my last short video of the camper shell I'm redoing? No, I don't. I'd have to say no. I saw the cat video, but I don't know if I picked up on that. But I'm really weird about that. I'll pick up individual videos here and there, but then about once a week I'll go back and I kind of hit a channel and I'll watch the videos that post that week or every 2 weeks or something like that. So I'm more of a binge watcher than I watch every video as it comes out. I tend to use my subscription page more and go back and watch videos that come up from specific creators, maybe two or three in a row sometimes. Like I follow the Winds. There are a couple that started as RV'ers and now they're sailing, and they're in New Zealand right now. And but I don't watch them every week. It's like this past Sunday, I watched three of their videos and kind of caught up to where they are. Linda says, Camp Gore 1 says, oh, Arizona is terrible water. My hot water heater is probably so clogged up with gunk. I hardly have a 10-minute hot shower. Yeah, if you don't maintain those and you don't keep the sacrificial anodes replaced regularly and you drain them out regularly, they can get full of crud. It may not be a total loss. You might be able to go back and drain your water heater out. There's videos out there how to do it. But you can drain it out and get some of the crud out of it, and you might find that it gets a little, you get a bit more of a shower out of it. But yeah, water heaters are, they're, hard water and water heaters don't get along. Linda says, yeah, it's Idaho Falls. Yeah, that's East Idaho News. They're in Idaho Falls. And then you're either going to get Channel 8 or Channel 3 out of Idaho Falls as far as the news channels go. Jim Bertrand asks, does my MD60 rough shift from second to third and fourth to third? I notice all other shifts are smooth, but those two. Yeah, if I've got my foot in it, sometimes I notice that it shifts kind of hard. But and actually, I don't have the, I have the 4000. I had the book out just the other day. I was looking at maintenance on it, but I have the Allison M4000, and second to third. Yeah, I mean, if you're cobbing it, it could shift hard, and yeah, the downshift, particularly when you go into the engine brake mode. When you're using engine braking, it has some, it shifts kind of hard. But yeah, I think that's kind of normal, Jim. Yeah, there we go. Linda says, okay, she's going to stick with the red rock then. It's a nice color, and it will match my redwood RV gate. Yep, perfect. Linda asks, is there any kind of water filter that can go on the water line before it gets to the tank? Yes. First off, having a water softener, not a water filter, but a water softener, is your first defense against hard water in any rig, but in your home. A water softener, saltwater based one, a salt based one, you might be $350, unless you go with somebody like a Culligan or somebody like that. Culligan is really high on their shit. I'm sorry, on their stuff. They want $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 for a water softener. When you can go to Sears and buy you used to be able to go to Sears. What a sad story that is, huh, folks? But yeah, when you used to be able to go to Sears and buy one for $300, and it worked just as good or better. Oh my gosh, we sure got the spammers in tonight, don't we? But I'm staying ahead of them. Just ignore them, folks. We're better than that here. Ron Bunge is in. Hi, Ron. Great to see you in. Yeah, well, what do you expect from a guy who worked in radio for 20 plus years back in the 80s and 70s and 80s and 90s? I've got Sennheiser microphone and reasonable audio quality, decent speakers. Um, you could spend a ton of money on audio. I've just elected to, minimize. I don't have my best little speaker is out in the garage, and that's my little Bluetooth Bose speaker. I just love that thing. Linda says, I'd like to get a water purification system, just don't want salt. Well, you can do purification. You get an RO for drinking water. But ROs, as far as supplying a whole house, you're talking about big bucks to be able to, in a reverse osmosis, say that fast 5 times. Reverse osmosis is very effective, but it's not built for like whole house filtration. It's built for like drinking water filtration. The only effective way I'm aware of, now correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who can say so, to treat water for hardness on a whole house scale is a water softener of some sort. And of course they have non-salt ones, but you're back into the $2,000-$3,000 unit. And I don't know, I feel like I'd have a hard time justifying that if I just want soft water and no hard water problems. But to each his own. It may work for you. So Linda says, I was looking into the EB70 Blue Eddy, and they have a deal to get a panel and unit. There are 2 different kinds of panels, yes. A panel with the big squares and the one with the lines. Is there a difference, do you think? They are both 120, I think you meant 120 watt panels. Yes, the difference is monocrystalline versus like a standard solar panel. The round cells are typically the monocrystalline, and they're slightly more efficient. Okay, MTH Power Wash. He wasn't spamming, had a question. Okay, shoot. We'll get to you as soon as I finish this. Yeah, there is a subtle difference in the efficiency of the monocrystalline versus the sort of standard solar panel. There's also a little bit difference in price. Okay. It's not significant, but yeah, so that's what the difference is. I'm blurry? I wonder if it's the light. Let me try a little bit better light. Hang on. So am I still blurry now? I can't tell. My view is, teeny from what I can see. Actually, I think I need to bring this down just a touch to get that bright light out of the frame. A little latency there. Oh, still in there. All right, we're going to wrap this up in a bit anyway. Hopefully that's a little better. I'm shooting off the GoPro, using it as a webcam right now. So, Linda, Camp Glory 1, I hope I answered your question. One is just a little more efficient than the other. Eat Travel Happy says, you have a great setup, but you're still a little blurry. I think that's from the whiskey. It may be. Camp Girl 1 asks, I wonder if Nevada has nasty water. There's nasty water all over the West. It's because of the calcium. Some of it's better than others, obviously. But most of the West, you're going to find hard water. I mean, until you get into areas where the rainfall is really high. So if you're in an arid area, Idaho, Montana, Utah, Nevada, California, Southern California, New Mexico, Colorado, most of Colorado, Wyoming for sure. We all have hard water, and it's all calcium based. And there's not much you can do about it but soften. Oregon and Washington typically have different water. They're a little bit. It's a little bit softer, but they tend to have more iron and magnesium in the water in Oregon and Washington. Okay, MTH Power Wash. You got about a minute. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'll get to your question in a minute. To MTH. I bought a used Jim Bertrand says, I bought a used double-sized water softener that had new resin beans for 150 Canadian, the got-to-go model, and I have double filtration after that and a $750 Acuveda 2-liter a minute UV system for drinking water. That sounds pretty extensive. It sounds pretty good. I personally have a reverse osmosis in the sink, the Culligan brand, but it's what came with the house. And then there was a Culligan water softener. It wasn't working, and I replaced it with must have been the whiskey. It's escaping me. It wasn't a Culligan though, and I paid $375 for it, and it was good for I want to say 80,000 grains. It seems like that's what it was. I looked at what was there before, and I just basically matched it, but not in Culligan. Two Feathers says it's not blurry. To her, I might have just been the light. Okay, MTH Power Wash says that was my other account. No worries. When I see certain things, I'm pretty sensitive about spammers, and so I usually zap them pretty fast. But your question is more than welcome. I'm glad you had another account that you could come on and ask. He says, wanting to bulletproof the roof of a 2012 Forest River X-Lite and am wondering what to use and how much. It will be stored outside and has a cover. Okay. When you say bulletproof, the first thing that comes to my mind is a Turnabond seal, all seams. Okay. You get a Turnabond tape. It is the best sealing tape. They don't call it a Turnabond for nothing. And I would Turnabond tape all my seals. So all around the perimeter. Okay. And then as far as the rubber goes, you can scrub that rubber with a good roof cleaner, and you can paint it with Henry's Tropaseal. Okay. The Henry's roofing products I have had amazing results with. And then go back with lap sealant, and every seal that you didn't put a Turnabond on, touch up with lap sealant, and you should be good to go. But yeah, so a Turnabond all of the seams, particularly the perimeter, and then scrub it. Use the Henry's Tropaseal or Bright Tech. Those are the two that I know work for sure. And then lap sealant and re-lap seal every seam that you didn't put a Turnabond tape on. And you should be good. That's a pretty good strategy. Now, you want to be careful, and when you get up there on that roof, check really carefully and make sure you don't have any existing leaks. And so what you want to do is step gently on especially like the corners and along the seams of the roof. And if you hear any crunching, then you've got a leak. And that might require additional attention. But MTH Power Wash, I hope that answered your question. A Turnabond tape, Henry's Bright Tech or a Tropicool, and lap sealant, and just go back and touch up everything. If it has a screw in it and it goes through your roof, it should have lap sealant on it. You can go over and you can check out, there's a video on my channel. It's a series of videos where I replaced my roof, and you'll get a lot of tips out of those videos as well. So I recommend that you run over there and check that out. Eat Travel Happy says, could just be YouTube. Now you want to watch it because I broadcast in 4K, and I've been doing 4K now for over a year. But YouTube dummies it down for you depending upon what your connection speed is. And so if you look in the corner of the window you're watching it in, there's usually like the little gear, and you can adjust the video quality with that gear. And if you look at it and it's down around 360 to 480, it could look a little grainy. But if it's 720 and up, it should look pretty good. But that's probably why it's grainy, is that YouTube has detected you're on a bit of a slow connection and has elected to dummy it down to provide you with the video at the expense of a little of the quality of the video itself. So I hope that helped, Jim. Two Feathers says Washington has great waters. Yeah. Okay, Roundtown Scouter says, I have a Rand McNally overdrive and cannot recommend it. Okay, heads up. It is searching for GPS signal a lot at the worst times, usually, yeah. I have to use the cell phone GPS for just in time when overdrive searching. Interesting. Do you have an external antenna on that, Roundtown Scouter, or is that an internal antenna? Because that can make a lot of difference with in-dash GPSs for sure. Eat Travel Happy says Northern Montana has great water. Yes, they do. Northern Montana is far enough north though that they get more moisture, like up around Great Falls in that area, over towards Powell or over towards Glacier, and down around Polson Lake, the Polson Lake Polson, up there. That area has really good water. Missoula, and that area. That's a really good part of Montana. One of my favorite parts. Jim says the water system for my RV is 16,000 grain softener. That's what I got for mine too, Jim. It was the 16,000 grain softener. And I was getting at least 2 months out of it before I had to recharge it. And recharging it was nothing. It takes a couple pounds of rocks, table salt. That's it. Campgrower 1 says, I have an electric water heater. I wonder if it would be difficult for me to change it out myself. Are you talking about the water heater in your home or the water heater in your RV? The water heater in your RV is plug and play. That's really simple. The one in your home, it's not bad. The worst part of it is getting the old water heater out of the basement, if that's where it is, or moving the old water heater. If you're confident with the electrical, the plumbing is fairly straightforward. I would recommend, though, if you replace a water heater, that you get new supply pipes. You'll be a lot further off in the long run. I replaced my dad's water heater for him when I was there. But for the same reason, you get about a 7-minute shower, and then you'd be out of hot water. Oh, Campgoer 1 agrees the Henry's Tropicool is good. MTH Power Wash, thanks. Was misled at purchase a year ago and gutted floor in back. Bathroom dome was bleached, cracked, and leaked. Yeah, that's common. Did you check your roof out really carefully to make sure that leak hadn't spread around that dome? But yeah, the Turnabond tape and the lap sealant and a good cleaning and the Henrys, and you should be okay. Linda asks, can I suggest a cell phone signal booster that won't cost a fortune? Not right off the top of my head, Linda, but I promise I will research that for you. I'm going to make myself a note. I bought the Wilson Electronics WeBoost 4G-X RV cell phone booster, and they're expensive, almost $500. I know there's cheaper ones out there. I don't know about their quality or reliability or how well they work, but I'll run it down, and if you're on the next live stream, we'll chat about it. Linda's back and says, yeah, it's a water heater in her house. It's in the garage. They're not that tough to change out. Again, the toughest part is getting the plumbing right and getting it back together properly. You want to be careful with the electrical, but you've done a lot of electrical stuff, it sounds like, so you might not have too much trouble with that. Take pictures of the old one and hook the new one up the same way. Jim Bertrand says, I got a Fonus SIM card, $15 US, and $30 US month to month for unlimited roaming, calling, texting, data in Canada, USA, and Mexico. Also free calling to 50 countries worldwide, using it 2 weeks. Cool. Two Feathers says, yeah, you have to empty it before moving it, for sure. She's referring to Camp Goer's water heater. Around Town Scouter. Camp Goer once. He says, I've never had that lag in hot water before. It's awful. Yeah, it can be. Around Town Scouter. The antenna is on the charging mount. Okay, I have taken the GPS out of the mount with the same results. R. McNally changed out the unit once. Okay. Huh. Well, yeah, I don't know. I've just, like I say, I don't have the GPS. Here's how I did my GPS. I used my cell phone, Google Maps. I would sit down, I would plan my route out at my workstation. I would send it to my cell phone, or actually to my tablet, because my tablet, I have a mount in the RV that sits right to the left of the steering wheel, and I could mount that up there, and so I had a nice big screen. But I would pre-run my route to make sure that I wasn't going to run into any low overhead, over underpasses, stuff like that. But so we got one no on the Rand McNally. I don't have any personal experience with it, but I'll add that to the list and do some research, and we can chat about it the next time on the 4th of January. Wow, it's 8:23. Man, time has been flying by. I think we'll wrap things up. Let's see what we got going here. MTH Power Wash talking about his leak from his bathroom skylight. It ran down the ceiling into some light, hit the floor, and rolled back. We are going to try and get 3 years out of it locally and then discuss a dealership model. Okay. Yeah, for 3 years, if you just did Turn-A-Bond tape and retouch up all of the seams with lap sealant where appropriate, I wouldn't worry about painting the roof. I wouldn't worry about the Henrys. I would just do the Turn-A-Bond tape and the freshen up the lap sealant, any place that looks poor, and you'll get 3 years out of it for sure. E-Travel Happy says, we just bought the WeBoost for the RV. It made a huge difference, $500. Yeah, it's the de facto, it's a Cadillac for sure, and it works well. There's several videos on my channel around the WeBoost. One where I'm over 80 miles from the cell tower and I'm getting, 50, 60 meg downloads. So it's definitely worth it, but I totally get that that's not in everybody's budget. And I will research cell phone boosters and see what we can find as far as one that's a little less expensive. Yeah, Jim Bertrand, that's a good point. He says most important factor with cell phone booster is the separation of the inside and outside antennas. Otherwise, the signals will cause the booster to defeat the signal. Yeah, that's called bounding. And what happens is that it sees the signal and um, it boosts that signal from the cell phone booster. I mean, it's a really well. It's basically, remember Jimi Hendrix and feedback. It's a feedback loop, and the boosters are designed to recognize that, and then they reduce the signal to stop it. So yeah, the separation of the inside antenna from the outside antenna is critical. Jim Bertrand asks, I have an accumulator tank for my RV water pump. Still have to install. Have you ever used one in Rusty? No, I never really thought I needed one. The water pump, it made more than enough pressure, and it never ran out of pressure. So I didn't ever think about doing one. I suppose in a little bit higher flow situation, you might want an accumulator, but I think my pump was 3 GPM, maybe 2.5, and that was more than enough. The little yawn made Linda yawn. Okay, Theodora Farah. I don't get it with you guys. Why did you always all of a sudden find me? You're very welcome, MTH Power Wash. Sorry I blocked you earlier on your other account. Come back anytime, ask any question. We're happy to help. Jim was in the middle of a question, it looks like. Asking me if I was going to go to quartzsite. No, it's not going to happen this winter, Jim. Next year for sure, but not this winter. Camp Gore 1 asked, what do I think of white Gorilla Tape versus a Eternabond? A Eternabond is built to do what we're talking about doing, is sealing seams in light. And Gorilla Tape White is not going to have the UV resistance that the Eternabond tape has built into it. Plus the Eternabond tape is probably 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch thick. And it's built to seal seams. The white Gorilla tape it's not built to do the same thing. I would not use it on any exterior surface that was subjected to any kind of light. eTravel Happy reiterates, regarding the WeBoost antenna, the separation is critical. Yes. And on the WeBoost, the light pattern will tell you if you're in a bounding situation where the signal's feeding back on itself. If memory serves me correctly, if the LED is flashing yellow, it's bounding, and it will start reducing the signal strength on the WeBoost, because I have one. Second question around that. Camp Goer Linda asking, no, fortunately I'm not going to make quartzsite. If I had the camper ready to go, I would, but that will be next year. Jim says this pump's 2.8 GPM, just want to reduce the cycling. Yeah, I suppose that's true. You could put a small accumulator on there, and but I never considered doing one. It never really bothered me. Linda asks, I want to use my onboard heater. Do I have to light anything? No. Well, you shouldn't have to. Some older furnaces might have a standing pilot. But newer ones, you should never have to start a pilot, even on water heaters. They're, piezo instant start on demand, and they're electrically ignited. So yeah, you shouldn't have to do anything, Linda, other than maybe turn on this, a power supply, a switch somewhere. E-Travel Happy. Yes, a Turnabon is the best. It's expensive for a reason. It lasts. It's good. It's really good. I had a leaking roof in 2013 on my RV, and I repaired it, and it never leaked again until I took the roof off. And of course, it wasn't leaking. But the Turnabon was a pain in the butt to remove. And here we are, 90 minutes. I didn't think we were going to make 15, and you guys are the best. So I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, a Happy New Year. We will not be together again until the 4th of January. There will be no truck camper video this weekend. I'm going to take off and just enjoy myself, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas with your family, or wherever you might be spending it, that you stay safe and healthy, and that you have an amazing new year, and we will get together again on the 4th of January. As always, if you like this the channel or the video, your thumbs up is so greatly appreciated. Subscribing, ringing the notification bell so you know when new videos come up, visiting my Amazon store, visiting me over on the web. Everybody, your support is so greatly appreciated. I'm so humbled and so happy to have you all as a part of my friends and family. And I look forward to seeing every one of you on Tuesday night. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks. A couple of last shout outs. Chris Hauser, thank you, sir. We will see you in a couple weeks. Two Feathers, the same to you. Camp Goer 1. We'll catch you down there in Quartzsite real soon. Eat, travel, happy. Merry Christmas. Jim Bertrand, thanking me for my time and my expertise. Have a wonderful Christmas, and we'll see you on the 4th. Merry Christmas, Linda. Merry Christmas, Round Town Scouter. Richard, have fun in skiing and enjoy the holidays. You too, sir. And we'll keep working on the technical things we're working on offline. I'll finish that up for you tomorrow. Title for the RV. Good night, Judy. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks, Linda. Good night, everybody. Until we get together in 2 weeks, January 4th, same bat time, same bat channel. Peace. Goodbye.